Hello everyone. In the last lesson, I mentioned that we have a problem here, and it would be good for us to get the URL of our frontend from env variables. But the problem was that this file is used by both the backend and frontend, and env variables are stored in different places. Here it's under import.meta unenv in frontend, and in the backend they are in process.env. We need to standardize this somehow. Let's make it so that in the frontend, env variables are also in process.env. Okay, how do we do that? For this, we go to vt.config.ts in our web app and add the following code. Here we have already extracted all the env variables anyway. That's it. And we have them. But here are all the variables. That is, there is both port and whitebackend.rpc.url. We don't want these variables to end up in our bundle. It's not a big deal if the port does. It's not so terrible. Technically, we might have various API keys here, and there will be API keys here that are needed only during the build, for example. But during the actual project launch, they are not needed. That's why we need to obtain an object with public env variables, specifically those that start with white. The code will be as follows. Declare the variable public env. Take entries from env. Entries from env are, that is, if it was an object, now it will be an array of arrays where each part of the array becomes the first value as the key, the second value as the value of this object. And we generate a new object. And if our key starts, if with white, underscore, that is this, then we add this key with this value to our accumulator, which was initially empty. If it suddenly turns out that our variable didn't start with the word white, then we return the accumulator as it was. That is, initially an empty object. If not an empty object, then what was previously returned to it. That's how reduce works. All right, here is our public env. And now we need to somehow pass this public env to our application. For this, there is an option define. We write define prot.cnv and pass public env there. Everything should work now. Let's save and check the front end. Just in case, let's restart it. It's restarted and working. We can actually debug this a bit and see what happens. For example, console.log env. Let's take a look. And console.log. Public env. So here we call it in C. Probably I have a lot of secrets here. All right, well, in general, we see that in env there's a lot there. Let's remove it. Save it again. And we see that in the public env we only have what's starting with white. Here, that's just what we needed. Good. Well, now we don't need to take in the NFTs file of our web app. Do not take variables from imported env. Now we need to take them from process.env. Process.env. But now it's complaining because we also banned taking from there. So here we'll tell it not to complain, because it's allowed here. So, disable. Okay, added here, added. And now let's do what it was all about. And here we use the env variable. We already have the web app URL variable in the backend, and it's not on the front end yet. We need to add it. Okay, let's add it. env web app. This is also a public variable, so we will name it whitewebapp.url, right? We need to add it to the env variable now. So, whitewebapp.url is on port 8000 without any suffixes. Also, don't forget to add it to env.example. All right? Okay, Okay, great. And now let's use it here. We can't properly import our env here because, for example, the backend might, well, it won't have these env variables right now, and this file will complain. So, for now, we have to do the following. We'll still directly access our process with env. Not great, but better than before. We'll work on it later. All right. Okay, let's avoid errors. Remove unnecessary imports. And we just look for either whitewebapp.url or webapp.url. Let's have at least something here. There. Now we can check what's being output correctly. Let's just add a console.log. Okay, let's do it. Let's just do it in the root file and see that the ABS path is being output correctly. Then, routes file, console.log, get sign up. Route, abs true. So, it should be logged on the front end. Let's take a look. So, our console, yes, it inserts A8000 / sign up. And let's call the same thing on the back end. So, our backend, okay, console.log. Sign up root, we import it, and we're looking at the backend logs, okay? And here it outputs completely correctly. All right, that's all. We already have common env variables in the backend and front end. Later, I say, we'll tidy this up too because it's still not satisfying me yet. All right, thank you all. We can move on. See you soon.